welcome to the Points in the Paint podcast, Stadium's #1 NBA podcast. Ben Wittenstein.
Zach Badger House, always in the house. How we doing?
You know, it's kind of weird because today doesn't have any NBA games, which is for good reason, because people are going out. Go vote if you can.
Make sure you do that.
And I think that's great, and I think that's awesome. But it's definitely weird that the season starts. You get a lot of games. You had 30 teams playing last night.
Everybody in the NBA played yesterday. That was pretty cool. And we're only going to get that one more time this season. I believe that's the last day of the regular season. So it's pretty exciting. Definitely exciting.
It's overwhelming is what it was.
It definitely was overwhelming because about, 7 or 8 games I may have probably seen, give or take. But outside of that, I mean, it was definitely a cluster. Definitely a big cluster of basketball.
What games did you watch? Because you couldn't watch them all at once.
Well, actually,
what games do you have your eye on?
Let's see. There was at least I think I watched 8 games throughout the whole slate. So I was watching a bunch of games at the same time. Whether it was the Mavericks game against the Brooklyn Nets, I watched that game. Pistons game was pretty good. We're gonna get into Josh Giddey and why I'm not messing with him anymore, but that's neither here or there. I also watched the Memphis game. Memphis-Boston game was good. Memphis was trying to come back, but they didn't really pull it away. I was upset that the Kings didn't pull it away against the Golden State Warriors.
They had them, too. That's the problem.
And I felt like they were cheating. I feel like that last shot, I just saw the last shot again in slow motion. They probably could have caught a foul for Dante DiVincenzo on Klay Thompson. They probably could have given the foul for him to shoot 3 free throws to try to tie the game and bring it to overtime. But they didn't call it. So, you just got to move on, live on with the results. And now the Golden State Warriors are in the winning column again.
Yeah, that was a little too long for them to be losing for people's enjoyment. I think at some point people were like, all right, the Warriors have to start winning at some point. And they still haven't won on the road, which is really interesting. They can't go on the road and they can't win. They're 0-for-6 with that road record, and they're 4-7 in total. 4-7. It's so weird.
It is. Like I said in one of the videos that we posted this past week, what's up is down and what's down is up right now in the NBA. I mean, if you look at the totality of things, and especially in the West, like the Clippers are projected to be a top seed. They're not doing very hot. Warriors just won their first game in like the last, 5 or 6 games. So that's kind of rough. That's a big struggle bus right there.
Yeah.
And the Philadelphia 76ers, as we take it to the Eastern Conference, like they're not doing very hot either. So yeah, it's been tough, and they have an injury right now with James Harden, who's probably going to be out at least a month, according to our man Shams Charania. So that's going to be tough too.
Well, the interesting thing is, because that brings us to one of our one big things of the week, is you mentioned all those teams. A lot of these big market teams are struggling.
Yes,
for sure. You got the Knicks, the Lakers, even the Clippers to some extent, especially with Kawhi being out. The Philadelphia 76ers. Which means right now the NBA, Zach, is being dominated by these small market teams. Dominated.
Yeah, it's very interesting because of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We kind of had, somewhat decent expectations, good expectations with them because of the trade that transpired over the summer with Donovan Mitchell coming over to Cleveland Cavaliers for Larry Marketing, which 2 of these teams we're going to talk about. So that's kind of crazy how it looks like both of these teams made each other better with the trade that they ended up doing anyway over the summertime with, obviously Larry Marketing playing in Utah now and Donovan Mitchell playing in Cleveland. So when you have all that taking place, it looks like it benefited both sides. There were no winners and losers. There were just winners and winners in that trade.
And he talked to, did you see he talked to Shams, Larry Marketing? If you haven't, go watch the video. It's on Twitter, and Shams tweeted out as well. But you know what he said? He said it was joyless at the end of the Bulls. At the end of his time with the Bulls, he said it was just joyless.
Well, you can speak on that because it wasn't
you
as a Bulls fan, you could definitely speak to that because, and I even asked this question too, because I saw some people were tweeting, even Bulls fans were tweeting okay, why didn't he do this when he was in Chicago? And so he said he didn't have any joy here. So what is that? What did that say about the time in Chicago during that period and then for the front office? What did that really say?
Yeah, it said the Bulls were a mess. And that I think it was still the right pick to make. I think he was the right player to look at, but I don't know if they developed him well. I mean, he had to deal with Jim Boylan. That can't be good for anyone's health, mentally or physically, to be quite honest. And then he had to go through a couple more coaching changes. He had to go through, a rebuild that kind of didn't turn into a rebuild because they ended up trading him anyway. So it makes sense why it was, lifeless for him around Chicago, but I'm happy to see him thriving in Utah. The man's scoring over 20 points in a lot of games. He's I think he's shooting 88% within 3 feet of the basket, which is amazing for someone like him. He's really improved that part of his game. So I'm glad he's thriving. I don't know if Danny Ainge is glad that Utah is thriving. I think he wants him to fold, but
I think the first 10 games, man.
If you keep winning,
I think they got to just throw it out the window. I don't think they're gonna tank. I don't think because
you don't think they're going to tank.
I don't think so.
You think it's just all gung ho now? You might as well keep.
Might as well just keep winning because it's like, okay, this team they've showed you through the first 10 games that they're willing to be competitive, and through the first 10 games, it looks like you have a guy. Like it looks like Lauri Markkanen can be the guy for Utah. It looks like he can be the all-star for the Utah Jazz. But one of the things I do want to emphasize with the Utah Jazz is that one of the main reasons why they've been so successful is because they've been able to be prepared in the clutch moments, the crunch moments of these games that they've played. Because Jordan Clarkson, he's out of the 55 clutch points that the Utah Jazz have, Jordan Clarkson has 20 of them. So he's been knocking down shots in key moments down the stretch of these games, and they're one of the best clutch teams in the NBA, the Utah Jazz. And so down the stretch, you need a basket. You can always count on Jordan Clarkson, Jordan Bryant. That's what I'm going to call him.
That's so wild. Count on Jordan Clarkson down the stretch.
Down the stretch. So far this year.
So you have other small market teams. We talked about Cleveland for a little bit. They were on the other end of that trade, of course, and they've been awesome. They've been fun. They've been awesome. They've been beating up teams. They do look legit, and it almost looks like I don't even know if it was a rebuild, but their rebuild effort, their drafting effort, and their trades are coming together effortlessly as one. And Cleveland looks like a legit contender.
Donovan Mitchell, oh my goodness, dude. He can knock down some shots. And I ain't just talking about no mid-range, no three-pointers here and there. I'm talking about he's going to come off the screen, be 3 feet behind the three-point line, and still knock it down with confidence. I think I saw 4 of those in the game against the Clippers. I really wish they would have beat the Clippers because they played so hard. But I got to give credit to the Clippers because they fought back in the game, down the stretch.
Cleveland collapsed. That was gross.
It's like the last 3 minutes of the game, they just started fading away, the Cavaliers. But the Clippers stepped up defensively in that matchup towards the end down the stretch. And I got to give credit to the twin brother Morris, who definitely put it away with those free throws at the end.
That's the weird thing with the Clippers for me is the defense you saw at the end of that game, that they could play that for 48 minutes. They should be able to play that for 48 minutes, and they just don't, which is weird.
Well, they just had a problem defending the 3-ball against the LA Clippers, which is weird because it's like they don't shoot a ton of them. I mean, they do, but not a ton. Like Paul George, he shoots a lot of threes. He's probably a volume shooter. I noticed that the Morris brother only had like 5 free throws on the season, so he's only shooting threes. He's not attacking the basket as much as he should. So I was really surprised about that.
Let's see what else we got. I mean, Milwaukee is Milwaukee. They had their first loss of the season against the Hawks. Yep. They look just as dominant as ever. And what scares me, Zach, is
Chris.
There's what?
There's no Chris.
Yeah.
There's no Chris Middleton.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's one of these like, are they better without Chris Middleton things? Which I don't think they are. I don't want to be the one to bring that up, and I don't think that's even true in the slightest. Because in the long run, he's going to be important to that team. Yep. But it's interesting to see them winning so well without Chris Middleton.
Jordan Noah, if I'm saying his name right, the kid from Louisville. He's gotten his minutes increased this past offseason. And so to see him kind of take more of a bigger role, to be a knockdown shooter and shoot the ball with a ton of confidence in some of these games that he's played. And I know this player right here that I'm about to name, I know you do not like him, but that's just too bad. Because Grayson Allen has played
I'm going to bleep this out.
exceptionally well for them, too, in the absence of a Chris Middleton. So,
He's somehow improved, which really sucks. I don't like seeing Grayson Allen improve. I don't like seeing him on the court to begin with. So to see him actually improving and being a good, well-rounded player, that one hurts. And now, so I don't want people to get mad. I put Portland here. They're a small market.
They are a small market.
Portland's small market.
They are a small market.
But they're playing well.
And they are playing well.
And Dame came back.
Yes,
and they came back from being down against Miami Heat. They were +7 last night.
I was surprised.
They were +7.
But you know what?
It was before Anthony Simons was, I think, ruled in.
That, and I think I don't see, because when I looked it up, I wasn't sure if Damian Lillard was going to play. And then I think it was around like,
questionable.
It was like 6 o'clock. But I saw when I saw it at 6 o'clock, it was updated for like 3 hours ago that he was set to make his return in that game. And so they needed him. because Josh Hart, I don't know if anybody else is going to trust Josh Hart to shoot the last shot for the game winner outside of Damian Lillard on that team. Jeremy Grant probably would shoot it. Anthony Simon, young bull, he either passing it to Dame or he probably going to shoot it. I don't think anybody's going to pass the ball to Josh Hart in the corner in the last seconds of the moment.
No one expected that for
outside of Dame Dollar. So kudos to Dame Dollar for trusting his teammate.
Let's see. You put Steph Curry. He went off 47 points. That's another one. You know, we do one big thing, but it's just 1/2 big things usually.
Well, this
it's
is the whole
big things.
I mean, it's the whole big thing. It's the whole one big thing because we're talking about all the small market teams, like all in the one. So just one big together. I mean, the Warriors aren't really necessarily a small market, but like you said, Wardell, he had 47.
Man went off.
He was going crazy, and they needed see, that's what I like about a guy who goes out there and has a great performance in a crucial game, because we know. Years past, Sacramento Kings, not a good team. They don't play very well. And, throughout these, the last decade and a half probably.
Yes,
but
2001.
Recently, they've been playing very competitive under new coach Mike Brown. I think Mike Brown really wanted to win that game against the former team he used to coach with in the Golden State Warriors. He came up short, and I was not pleased because they had the game in their hands majority of the game. Like, they were winning. If you go and look and see how long they led, they probably led that game a good 42 minutes of that stretch, maybe more than that, man.
Wow, that's kind of absurd that they gave up that lead, but that is kind of typical Kings, unfortunately, with the way they have been built.
It's unfortunate.
You see them with the lead, and you're like, well, that's not going to last too long. That's not going to happen. So good for them for putting up a fight, but losing to Steph with him getting 47 points, it's nothing to cry about.
Yeah.
Nothing to cry about. What's trending? What's going on in the world of the NBA and Luka Doncic?
Your boy.
9 straight.
9 straight.
30-point games. Who does he join?
Oh, man.
What's the glorious name that he joins who also had 9 straight 30-plus point games?
Yeah, the Big Dipper, Wilt the Stilt. I mean, if I can name off any more names, I would for him. But Wilt Chamberlain, Wilt the Stilt. Okay, there we go. There's one.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he's, if you're in that conversation with Wilt the Stilt, the guy who scored 100 points in a game, then you're in great company, great conversation. The guy who had 55 rebounds average on a season, almost. Well, yeah, 55 in a game, 25 on a season. Like a guy like that, to be in that conversation, being your boy Luka, he's been balling, man. He was definitely, he made the impressive six. Definitely made the impressive six.
Let me take a gander at the MVP odds for this season. I mean, I just want to take a gander where he is.
He leading the league in scoring.
Yeah.
Now, yesterday, this week
he's number 2.
He is number 2. And this week, I really needed him to get 6.5 rebounds. He came up short with only 6. I ain't gonna gripe on that, but I'm not gonna gripe on that. Even though he does average 9 assists, 9 rebounds, leading the league in scoring, I couldn't get my 6-7 assists, but it's fine.
It's fine. You're not soft.
Nothing to harp on that.
Yeah. Well, no, listen, the rebound assist move for Luka is usually pretty good.
It is usually pretty good.
Rebounds, assists over. You're not going to go wrong there.
Especially against a poor rebounding team like the Brooklyn Nets. But, again, I'm not going to get into that. That's not going to be my never will I ever. Trust me, that's not what it is.
This is hard, though. You look at Giannis is the favorite. Luka's the number 2 by Giannis is plus 290. Luka's plus 300.
It makes sense for Giannis right now. They're 9-1 to start the season.
Yeah, you're right. It does. He's just playing unbelievable basketball. But so is Luka. Luka's playing unbelievable basketball. But
scoring, yeah.
I would like to see some more wins from Dallas. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's the way
they need some more wins.
That's the way he gets in that conversation. Yep.
Let's see what else is trending. Blazers
back-to-back game winners.
We're getting to Miami, Golden State.
Okay. I had a conversation yesterday with our roommate, actually. Abu. Shout out to Abu.
Shout out.
We had a conversation last night in the living room, and we were sitting there talking about the Jeremy Grant shot for the first game winner and whether or not it was a travel. Did you see the call?
I did. I could see it being a travel. Okay. I could see it being a travel, but in the NBA, that's not a travel. They're not going to call that.
Okay. Now, the breakdown, I thought it was a travel.
He shuffled his feet a little bit for sure.
Definitely shuffled his feet. However, I guess that wasn't reason why they didn't call it travel. Me and Abu was talking about it, and he kind of broke it down like, if you look closely, and I got to go back and look, because I told him I was going to look. So I got to go and look. And what was I doing? He was doing this with the ball. So, he was tipping it back, Jeremy Grant. And then after that, you can see his feet move and shuffle backwards. But when they shuffle backwards, the ball isn't in his hand. because he's tipping it. So it all happens so fast. So like he tips the ball.
Interesting.
And it comes back into his possession. He shoots it. And his feet are all set. It's no travel, and they win the game. And then you fast forward. We just talked about Josh Hart knocking it down.
Yeah, right. That wasn't a travel.
Yeah, no, that was no travel. All you got to do is catch and shoot. No pressure.
So here's my thing with the Blazers. I'm glad they're getting wins, and I'm glad they look like a good team. But it's worrisome.
You got to create a segment for you with your butt.
Ben's butt segment.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, that don't need. Okay, you said it.
That. You want us to get canceled. You want us to get canceled immediately. But, Zach, I do worry that, is it sustainable? Because they're not going to hit game winners every time they have a chance at a game winner.
That's fair.
They get lucky. That's 2 wins. Could have easily been 2
the other
losses.
way. Yes.
So, is my question to you is the Blazers start? And right now they currently sit at 3rd in the West, 7-3. Is it a mirage because of some of these game winners? They could be 5-5 right now. Maybe even less. Because is it sustainable? Is the 7-3 Blazers really? Are they actually 7-3?
Yes, I'll say so because they've played a few games without Damian Lillard and they were still able to win some of those games. So I will. Okay. So I'll give them that credit. You know, Jeremy Grant being able to step in and produce even more with Damian Lillard being out. Same thing with Anthony Simon and Nurkic and those boys stepping up. You see what Josh Hart's do. He's knocking down shots in crucial moments. So, I mean, in fairness to this team, Chauncey Billups has them playing better defensively. Yeah. I'll say that, too, for sure. But the whole totality of the NBA and the West particularly being up and down is up, it may be sustainable with the way that everything is. I mean, we look at the Lakers. Lakers are 2-8. They may stay 2-8.
Right.
The Warriors, defensively, they may never get right. They may never get right.
That's true.
That's been their biggest struggle. Nobody really talked about the Warriors' defensive struggles. They have struggled defensively, and their bench play kind of needs to step it up outside of Jordan Poole.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think what was it that you said last year? You're waiting 10 to after 10 games, 10 to 20 games.
10, 20 games for the Lakers. Oh yeah, 20. Yeah,
no,
they
for any team.
Any team
really
like 15, 20 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 15, we'll come back next week and we'll really look at the Blazers, I think, and we'll have a good idea. Never will I ever. Another segment. We've got Never Will I Ever. We're going to get Ben's Butts. Like, this is turning into some weird segment names. So something we won't bet, we won't watch, we won't root for again. Yep. What you mentioned his name at the top of the show.
Yes. So
the man with the lovely hair.
Yeah, love his hair. But what I won't do, one thing I will never do, Josh Giddey, bro, OKC guard, man, you my mans. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking you finna go, you know what I'm saying, to my home state, Detroit Pistons. You finna show out, do your thing, drop some dimes, the SGA. First of all, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had like well over 30 points, but I think only like maybe 8 of his points were assisted, which brings me to my what I'm griping on here. So my man's Josh Giddey, I needed him to get 4.5 assists. 5 assists. Just drop 5 dimes. You can check and see how many he averaged. He averaged 5 being, so it should have been no problem. But see, my problem probably it was 5.3, which means it's going to be less likely he's going to get 5 than more likely he's going to get 6.
Is that how you see that?
Yeah, you know, that's how the numbers work. So I'm like,
that's math right
so
there.
If it was 5.7, 5.8, then I probably would have been a little more confident with the 4.5, right? I mean, that's just how the math worked for me, you know.
I'm not a math guy, but that makes sense.
On the road, I'm watching Josh Giddey, Oklahoma City Thunder. He is playing so timid. It was ridiculous. Third quarter and in the fourth quarter, the Pistons were looking like straight bullies, just straight up bullying Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah. Like, they were playing way more physical than they were, and it got to a point where the head coach of Oklahoma City Thunder, he couldn't even keep Josh Giddey in the game, and Josh was so frustrated. He pounced the ball on the ground super hard and just walked to the bench and did not return to the game with only like 2-3 assists. I was very upset.
Yeah, that's rough.
So no more road betting for Josh Giddey.
You know, I think that's fair. I think you're kind of putting him in a betting timeout. And I'm surprised to see the Pistons being that big of a bully team because they are so young.
Yep.
They're so young. They're so inexperienced. You usually don't get that much fight from that type of a team. So to see that come from them, maybe it was because it was against Oklahoma City. They're also kind of young, so it's an easier team to figure out maybe I can bully them a little bit more. But I'm surprised because if the Pistons can turn into that bully team again, if they can turn their younger players into more physical players, they're going to be dangerous down the road.
Definitely. I like Jaden Ivey. I don't know if how much you paid attention to him.
Yeah, no, I do too.
But
he's going to be a star. He's
going to be aggressive.
He could be a star.
Downhill, he is He's ready. He's ready right now.
One thing I will never, ever do is criticize Russell Westbrook as long as he is still coming off the bench. Because I do want to say, A, he's going to be in the run for Sixth Man of the Year if he stays on the bench for the rest of the season. And B, I think it was a very selfless act for him to say, all right, me starting is not going to work. It's not working for me. It's not working for the team. That's not where I am in my career right now. I'm going to go play off the bench. And I'm never going to criticize someone for being selfless, and he probably extended his NBA career by at least a couple years by saying, all right, I'm okay with coming off the bench now.
Yeah, I think it was granted because it gets him the opportunity to play the actual position that he plays, which is the point guard position, which allows him to get guys involved and let him play true to himself. Now, the biggest question when he first came into this team last season was, will it work? Will LeBron and Russ work? And for me, I always say, we just talked about it, I need at least 10 to 20 games to really know how this is going to transpire. Basically, essentially being, it probably was only like 17 games where all three of them were in the lineup together.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
Because we got, I think only like 11 or 12 last year, and I think we got only like 8 this year. So I guess on my, based off how I feel and how I usually think about it, based off my notion, the 20 games basically said that it's more fitting for Russell to come off the pine. Yep. And it's more effective and more efficient for him to come off the pine. If you go look at his numbers through the first games where he was starting versus these last few games, him coming off the bench, it is complete 180 in terms of efficiency.
Amazing. Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and say, Russ is bad, Russ is doing poorly, because, A, he's playing well, actually. He's doing a really good job coming off the bench, and I think it was a really smart move on his part for him personally and also for the team. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize Russ. As long as he's coming off the bench, I think it's a good role. I think it's a smart role.
But I think you are criticizing the team he played for in this next segment.
Guess
what you
we're
doing?
Bringing back. Guess the segment we're bringing back for this week? Prison time. It's time to throw someone in prison, Zach. I'm so excited because I'm throwing the Los Angeles Lakers in jail.
Prison ward over here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Get in the prison, lock the door, throw away the key, because the Lakers, I'm putting them in NBA jail.
I got to use this jail-free card just one time.
First one of the season, you're using to get on the jail-free card.
But this is the only reason why
Okay.
I'm using the jail-free card is because, everybody in the NBA media circles are harping on how bad the Lakers are. That's fair. Yep. That's fine.
Sure.
All that's true. But we not going to act like being everybody in this California playing professional basketball isn't terrible right now. Like I was talking to my friends about that. Like every team in California that has a professional basketball team, every city, so both LA teams, Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings, they're all bad. So we can't throw the Lakers in there without getting a warrant for the other 3 teams. That's all I'm saying.
We have to check the water that's in California or something, because all their basketball teams are
all the basketball teams are bad.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it from that perspective, that's fair. I'm okay throwing every other team in there. Clippers have been disappointing. Warriors for sure have been disappointing, and the Kings are just, I think they're
doing their usual.
They're the Kings.
Doing their usual.
It's almost just I feel bad for them at this point. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that. I'll throw the Lakers in prison, though. I'm happy to throw the Lakers in prison. They've been disappointing. They have in and out of injuries. Anthony Davis hasn't been anything impressive. LeBron's just kind of there. It's a poorly constructed team. And people are looking at the moves they made in the past 2 years to see where they ended up. I don't know if the Lakers are even going to make the playoffs this year. So I'm throwing them in prison because they have looked real bad and real disappointing. And of all the teams in California,
they're the worst. Oh no! Well, no, they're not the worst. Sacramento. Well,
no, I would say they're the worst. They're the most disappointing.
Okay, you know what? That's fair.
The Warriors, sure.
You could probably say that.
Little Warriors, little finals hangover there for Golden State. I think a little bit. They're coming off a title win. They get a pass.
What about the Clippers? Do they really get a pass? Do they really get a pass? You look at that roster and you tell me, do they get a pass?
If I'm throwing the Clippers in prison, they're going to go in like a low security prison. I'm throwing Kawhi Leonard into the maximum security prison. Because he's the reason they're bad.
There you go.
In and out of the lineup. First of all, he's your best player. You don't have him. Yep. Second of all, because he's been in and out of the lineup.
What are the requirements for him to play again? I forgot.
Oh, yeah. You got a full moon. It's got to be like $5 beer night at the stadium. It's got to be a Sunday night. Specifically, games got to start at 7:05. Everything has to line up. He has to wake up on the right side of the bed. His wife has to kiss him good morning every morning. If he doesn't, he can't play. It's like one of those things. Everything has to line up for Kawhi Leonard for him to play. And he's not playing.
Right.
And that's the biggest reason the Clippers right now are 6-5 is because of him, in my opinion. He's not playing. The continuity of the team, the rhythm of the team.
I agree.
So the Clippers have been bad.
Clippers
and
have been.
honestly, they almost lost last night, and they probably could have lost last
They
night.
should have lost.
But they're a bad team in general. But Kawhi is the reason they're bad. So maximum security Kawhi. I'll put Clippers in low security. They can get out probation.
But see, if you put him in maximum security, we never gonna see him. We already don't see him. We're never gonna see him.
I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna see him. I don't know if he's gonna be able to get out. I want to see him play like 5 or 6 consecutive games in a row. I don't know if that's possible for Kawhi to do that.
No, we all need to see that.
Like, what's the point?
I think Steve Ballmer want to see that.
Yeah.
I think Steve Ballmer need to be, how you feeling? I think that's what he needs to be doing. He need to be
How's the
tapping
knee,
that
man?
knee. Yeah, like, how we doing? How we feeling? But
I just, like, what's the point? Why is he playing professional basketball if he's sitting the entire time? Because by the time, if you're like, all right, we're saving him for the playoffs, how good is he going to be? He hasn't played all season long. He's not going to be warmed up immediately.
I just feel like they're doing the
You have
same
4
thing
games.
they did that one year when they were trying to, like, not play him and then play him. And then I remember everybody was saying, like, he was getting special treatment and this, that, and the third when Doc Rivers was the coach. And so now it's like, okay, Lou, you're a coach. And now it's the same thing. Same thing is happening. So they need to get it together.
It is ridiculous. On the hotline, folks, again, we are reachable in so many different ways. Just an unbelievable amount of ways. We have a voicemail line that's open 24/7, 365 days a year. 773-273-9088 is the number. We'll put it out on Twitter. We'll put it out on our Facebook page, which, by the way, we have a Facebook page. People are commenting. People leaving their NBA takes.
Yeah.
If you don't want to call in, don't want to hear your voice, you can text the phone line,
Yes,
too. You could also message us on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you on Facebook. We'd love to hear the hot takes.
Twitter, whatever you want to do, you know.
Yeah, just search us. We're there. Points Paint @PointsPaint is our Twitter handle. Facebook, who knows how long Twitter is going to be around. So Facebook's probably the right place to go.
Twitter's gonna be around. I don't know why everybody's speculating and getting nervous about the current owner.
We'll
or
have to start a Tumblr or something. A Points in the Paint Tumblr.
I don't even know how to use Tumblr.
I don't either.
I don't even know if I ever downloaded that on my phone.
I've
but.
never been on Tumblr once, but we're going to become a huge podcast on Tumblr now. Either way, let us know what you think about the NBA because we're going to read these off. We have some people talking to us. We have some people giving their NBA hot takes. So what do we have so far?
So we got Brandon Harris. Shout out to Brandon Harris. You know, he's out there back home in the hometown holding it down. So kudos to him for chiming in on.
Shout out.
Yeah, for chiming in on the Points in the Paint Facebook comment section here. He says Paolo Banchero, Orlando Magic's forward, potentially rookie of the year.
Yeah.
He feels like they're not being talked about enough.
Interesting.
How do you think? What do you think of that?
Yeah, I would say so.
You
Which
think
I'm
so?
which I'm kind of surprised. I've heard more about Benedict Mathurin.
I would
I've heard
disagree.
more about Jaden Ivey.
I would disagree.
You disagree? You think Paolo is being talked
I
about?
think he get enough love. I think he's getting plenty of love. I don't think Benedict Mathurin's getting enough.
Interesting.
Because you sit here,
We're on
you
different
say
sides
that.
of Twitter.
Yeah,
you know why? I follow a lot of indie guys on Twitter.
You do,
That's why.
you do,
That's why.
you do. You did say that. But so
I
that
follow a
makes
lot of
sense.
indie guys. I need to follow more magic right.
Well, it ain't even just that. I just feel like the NBA circle in general is just more so talking about Paolo versus any other rookie, to be honest. I mean, I feel like Jaden Ivey can get some love with his 16 a game. I feel like Keegan Murray, yeah, I know. It's Sacramento Kings.
Keegan Murray, yeah.
They're bad.
Well,
But he's out there getting about 18 a night. But I've been
Sure.
to Mathurin. He don't even start. At least Paolo starts for his team. I feel like these other guys that I got on this list, Jaden, Jabari, and Keegan, I feel like they all start.
Yeah.
Paolo starts. Benedict Mathurin comes off the bench with his 20 points and 5 rebounds a game.
True.
So I don't think it's just quite clear-cut a runaway for Paolo Banchero to get Rookie of the Year. Your
Interesting.
thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it's in stone yet. He's clearly
He
the
balling
front
for
runner.
sure. Like
He's
30
the
a
front
game
runner.
his last game. So
I think if anyone is going to get it other than him, it'll probably be either Keegan or Mathurin. I would think. I don't.
not Jaden.
Shaden's been good. I don't think the Pistons are going to be good enough. So I think that has to be in it a little bit how good your team is.
Yeah.
And Ivy's has had some rookie moments, I think.
Okay.
Jabari Smith, the Rockets are just like a black hole.
It's-
Everything goes in and no one knows anything about what's going on with Houston.
That situation right there being is tough because he's coming back from a little injury. He just played against number 1 pick in Paolo Banchero this week. He didn't. I wouldn't necessarily say he struggled because he got the win at the end of the day. They got the win, the Rockets. Paolo had 30, but at the end of the day, Jabari had his little 3 points only with like 1 for 4 from the field. That's fair. That's fine. But he got the win because Jalen Green stepped up. Kevin Porter, KPJ, our mans, he stepped up.
Yeah.
And Segun, the big man.
Yeah, Alperin.
Bro, I like him, Ben. He can play. And I think that's going to like stifle Jabari Smith's development with the play of him. So I don't know what's going on, like you said, with Houston. Like there's a
young options.
Yeah. So it'll be tough over there.
We got Trey Ward on Facebook. What'd he say?
He said AD damn near 7 feet tall, Ben. There's no way he should have 4 rebounds.
I agree.
There's no way.
Listen, I'm here for the AD slander.
Me too. Until he plays better.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should make it a segment. AD slander every week. Every single week we could just trash AD because he deserves it. I mean, the guy should be a Hall of Famer, and he plays like a rookie at points. He plays like a guy who's a 15-year veteran at points. Like he has a very high up and down variance, and it's frustrating if you're betting on him. It's frustrating if you're watching him. He's just frustrating all around.
They need better offense. When it's all said and done, like the Lakers, they need a better offense. They are at the bottom of the barrel in terms of offensive rating. Yeah. But you know what's interesting? If you could point out one thing based off your eye test, one thing you think that the Lakers are doing well this year, just one thing, you probably wouldn't know. I'm gonna tell you, but if you don't know, I'm gonna tell you.
From my eye test,
what do you think they're good at? One thing. I
would say ball movement.
Okay.
That would be it. I mean, they pass well. They move the ball around decently well. It's that they just all stink, so they can't hit anything.
No, can't nobody shoot a rock in the ocean on that team.
So
it's real bad.
I think they're moving the ball pretty decently for the most part. But that's from me. I don't know. What were you thinking?
So defensively is where the light kind of shines on the Lakers. So they're like 4th overall in terms of like defensive rating or defensive possessions or however you want to slice and dice it.
Sure.
But they're very good defensively, and I know that's weird to say because they're 2-8. Like, how are they good on defense and they're only got 2 wins? Like, and defense wins games. Well, that's because, like Ben said, they can't nobody make a basket.
No,
if one player could just make one basket on this team, if AD could just create more possessions for the team and not get 4 rebounds, I'm glad I didn't put rebounds on my tab yesterday on my ticket. That would have been horrible. That would have been 4 rebounds from a 7-footer. I would have been hot and bothered. It sounded like Trey Ward was hot and bothered.
Yeah, I don't blame him, to be honest. That's rough. That really is. Listen, and honestly, if I'm trying to be a smart bettor, I'm not touching anything that has to do with the Lakers betting wise. To be honest, there's nothing consistent.
Not even Brian. Brian gonna get 20.
Not even. Well,
he getting 20. You can put 20.
Depends on the game. Depends on the matchup. Depends how much he wants to win.
Well, he gonna get 20 regardless.
Interesting.
So far this year, he hasn't scaled too far under 20. He gonna get at least the 20. He chasing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so he gotta go out there and average it out to 25. Gotta do it.
Yeah,
even
he's
in the losses.
27 this year. So yeah, he'll be good for 20. So you throw that, you throw a little alt line on the.
That's all you gotta do is you can outline his points. Don't take the point total straight up unless you're trying to go under. Living in the land down under.
Yeah, there you go. Which also, by the way, congratulations on making your first single bet.
Oh my God!
That didn't hit, did that?
It did hit.
Oh, it did hit. I thought
Florida
it was Miami.
won. No, not Miami.
Oh, it was Florida. Oh,
yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
not the U, but it was Florida.
Okay, so you won your.
I won my first single bet. Yeah, it was.
What does that mean?
It
means more single bets in your future.
No. I mean, it was plus 100. So if it's plus odds, single bets plus odds. That's it. If it's plus odds, then we can run it up. But I ain't.
You're not gonna do minus 110.
No, hell no.
Oh,
that ain't no money. It's no real cheese.
This didn't teach you anything.
Like $5. Why would I bet $5 to win $5?
Because it's $5 extra.
No, I need $5 to win 10. Oh. If I'm putting $5 down, I need 10.
Oh no.
I might as well just bet you then. If I'm gonna bet, that's like me betting you. Yeah. I bet $5 just to win $5. I might as well bet a human instead of
a computer.
Instead of a computer. Book? Yeah, like come on, man.
Interesting.
I know that thought process may be crazy, may be absurd, it may not be even popular, but that's fine. That's fine.
That's fair enough. Well, congrats on the single bet. More coming.
More coming for sure. Long as they plus money.
For sure.
And that's gonna conclude this edition of the Points to the Paint podcast, presented by Stadium. I am Zach Badgerhouse. That was my main man, Ben Winstein. And remember, you can follow us on our social handles, respectively, of course. Make sure, on IG, do your thing and follow us at Points Paint, on Twitter at Points Paint, even on Facebook, Points in the Paint podcast. And you will hear from us. I know he just disappeared, but you're still going to hear from us next week.